I'm Michelle Koh. I'm a typical accountant. Basically, my background is financial and accounting. Actually, in my whole career path, I think it's about 18 to 19 years already. So I typically taking care of basically the whole financial statements for the company. So what actually triggered me to have this is because there was one day when I actually flipped through all my Facebook. There was this, probably maybe the powerful of AI recently, because I'm actually planning for my so-called early retirement. So this early retirement, basically, why I actually triggered that also is because I'm actually tired of this 9 to 5 kind of schedule. It's sometimes, as a so-called accounting persons, right? You need to take care of the money closings, quarterly closings, year-end closings, then forecast planning, budgeting, everything. So somehow, in terms of the time that you can spare with your family, in terms of the quality time, is lesser and lesser. Especially when your position is getting higher at a certain level, the commitment that your company or your management expected is different. Your commitment is there, okay? So because of this, right, that triggered me to I wanted to have the so-called part of the trader's declaration is that, right? I want to have financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom as well. Because sometimes I just realized that the time that I commit, even though I can earn some money, but somehow the time that I really can spare with my family and the quality time for so-called me time and the time for my family is getting lesser and lesser. So, and also because of all this, right, I have another mindset, right? Every year, every month, I actually help the company to look at the so-called profit and loss and the balance sheet as well. Somehow, I had this mindset is that why not I have a chance to actually have my so-called own business that can, instead of looking at someone's P&L or balance sheet, why not I take care of, I have a full in charge and I can take care of my own P&L and balance sheet. So from typical accounting persons, I think this is the so-called the journey that I want to be there. So that is why when that day when I flipped through the Facebook, this Kathleen, the so-called key message that really attracted me will be, she realized that she's not able to retire at age of 60 because of all this inflation, blah, 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 blah. That really the same concern that I have. And when she talked about all these quality time to spend with the family and friends, this is what I have, which I do not have. So that is why that triggered me to try to attend this course. So the so-called the introductions class that conducted by her, right, by this Beyond Insights, that really gave me the same kind of concern and same kind of wishes that I want to. So that is why I try to so-called give myself a chance to understand about what is all these Beyond Insights can offer me and can actually help me to achieve my journey. Even though I'm a so-called finance person, even though I'm so-called strong in all these figures, right? But somehow, when it comes to investment part, I can I heard about all these terms. I know there is this PE ratio, but when it comes to how you actually apply it at the right platform, right time, and so-called a right place, I have no idea at all. So when it comes to this Beyond Insights, right, it gives me a better picture how actually all this, I know about all these terms, but I don't really know I actually can use it and help to let my dreams come true. So that is why when I actually joined for these few classes, I think this swing trading is the third classes. So I found out that all these so-called the terminology used, and I also appreciated the process map that's actually created by Beyond Insight, because I can understand how painful and what is the efforts that you all need to put in from so-called deep knowledge from these stock markets into these slides that are given out in the booklet to all the students, and summarize again all this into this process map. It needs a certain kind of understanding from student perspective in order to close the gap, so that they can generate out this kind of process map. To be honest, when I totally agree with Kathleen instead, right? When you attended the class, one day or 1 week later, you will lose probably maybe 70 to 90%. So actually that process map really a powerful tool, especially for the new student like us, so that we can actually recap the whole thing again, mind map the whole information again, so that we are not so called kalang kabut or so nervous, because you see, we are still a full-time employee. Somehow, yes, I do agree that we must commit to it, but somehow when we need to meet a lot of timelines in a company, not to say that we don't want to commit, but somehow we still have these limitations to meet as well. So with that so-called initiative taken by Beyond Insights to actually share with us all this process map, right, is really, really useful. And to be honest, even my friend who actually joined these Beyond Insights classes as well, right, we all actually agree and align that all the initiative actually shared by the coaches, and especially the process map, right, very useful. So that is why I really appreciate it, and actually I quite shocked when I actually have this process map, because this process map is not easy. Because this process map basically not only is mind map the whole things that help the students to recap the whole things in a very short time, but it really gives a so-called confidence, a supportive level, so that the student can, even though it's lost after probably 1 week, but with that guide, at least we can actually recap a lot of things throughout the so-called classes that we have attended or whatever. So that's why I think that is, I would say that it's a great idea for Beyond Insights to actually come up this kind of initiative to help the students to actually try to so-called minimize the forgetfulness of a so-called a normal human being that will do. So that's why I think that I really appreciate and really touched, because I think that after what we actually paid for the classes, right, I think the effort, and I can see that the so-called sincereness from Kathleen to actually conduct all these classes and keep on reminding the students, follow rules, whatever. So I can see that the sincerity is that it's not only paid for the classes, come to attend, that's it, but the way that she reminds the students and keep on, so-called a nagger or whatever, I really appreciate it, to be honest. Yeah. When we actually submit all the answers to this Mentimeter, right, so actually there are some so-called mistake or error that trigger the concern from coaches as well. So actually Jacqueline purposely came to my place and tell me what is the so-called concern that trigger her, that she actually came to talk to me and tell me exactly where is all these problems coming from and what should be the right actions to be taken, and ask me to take note as well, and also try to share her opinion why I would have actually submitted that kind of answer. So I think in terms of so-called the caring, I can feel it from the coaches as well. Even though we have so many students here, right, I think the coaches, they really take all our results very seriously, so that she also wants to make sure, he or she just want to make sure that all the students, at least the understanding is there. Probably not 100%, but at least the fundamental is there. So I really appreciate it. I think all the coaches, they really take care of all the students on the floor, make sure that everyone is on the right track. Because of this, I think Beyond Insights has really give the quality level, the quality level is there. because not only the one that's on the stage that actually remind us every day, every time, every hours, but the coaches on the floor as well, they also try their best to actually make sure that the students is aligned, the understanding what actually the presenter actually is presenting. So I think just make sure that everyone is on the same wave. So I think it's a good thing. My father, actually he all the time he actually reminds us, I mean all the siblings, not to play in the share market. That's because their mindset is always, you know, sometimes when come to all these, they try to call it like 燒親手. So that is why, because of this, right, I have not actually shared with him as well about I already signed on this course. That is because I do not have a full understanding and the full picture about it. But I'm sure that if let's say one day I manage to master all this, right, I'm going to tell my father that because of my retirement plan, that I have my own plan as well. I just want to share with him with so-called knowledge given by Beyond Insights, right? I can actually use a technical way to actually play in a small, safer way in these stock markets. And of course, because of this, right, I also hope that, because I have a different plan as well, even for my current job. So I also told one of the coach here, I'm actually interested to become the coach. But it's just that, but it's just that because my fundamental is not there yet. So that's why, but that will be my plan, my wish as well. So I heard about all these comments as example for Kathleen to actually take 3 years to actually familiar with all the markets or whatever. Even Jason also spent 7 years to have that kind of result. So that is why, I mean, I'm not so ganjang about all this, but at least because for me, even though I'm a typical finance, but for this investment, for me, it's a totally new chapters. So I rather will put more effort in 1 to 2 years time. Probably maybe before 50, once I really familiar with this so-called tradings, then hopefully within next 5 years, my dreams will come true. If let's say I will be able to, I mean, so-called make my dreams come true, right? So basically, my financial, my timing, my locations is no issues at all. So if that is the case, I'm actually, because I believe that outside this room, there are many more people actually having the same concern. And probably maybe they do have some own family problems as well that they need extra income to actually help to support the family. So I'm lucky enough that my retirement plan, I do not have all these problems. Yeah, so but if let's say I manage to become to master it and become a successful trader, right, I also want this knowledge to be shared, and also because I have all this from Beyond Insight as well. So I also hope that I can be part of the team to actually contribute back to the society.